from me and my crew,
You matter.
Good morning, good evening, everyone. Yes, that's right, you matter. God bless you. It's Thursday night, and y'all know what we do on Thursday night. We get together for a party like none other, right? Our Bible study Thursday night, but tonight is a very special night. I'm Apostle Craig Coates, Fresh Start Church Virtual, and we're going to do some shout outs. And then tonight, I'm going to introduce tonight's topic, and our guest tonight is going to be fire. So here's what I need you all to do. I need you to start lighting up those lines right now. Come on, check in. Let me know you're here. Good evening to Edwina Jacobs, the first one to check in. Good evening to you, my sister and friend. God bless you. Teresa and Tony Chandler are checking in right now. Thank you guys so much for checking in. To Tanya Harris, good evening. She said she got a pen and paper in hand ready. I know that's right. Tonight is going to be an amazing night as you guys are checking in. I'm looking for more of these folks to check in. Y'all are lighting these lines up. I want y'all to stop every watch party you can tonight, because tonight's subject, let me tell you something. You cannot talk about being a Christian and being free if you don't understand tonight's topic. Tonight's topic is a must, and I feel it is very timely, and I have a special guest with me tonight, and it's going to bless your life in major ways. So you guys need to light those lines up. Good evening to Venice Harris. Good evening to Mom Fisher, Mother Fisher. I miss you. I'm giving you a virtual hug right now. Good evening to Ursula Smoot and to Tanya. God bless you, Pastor. Good to see you online here today. To Linda Sutton, God bless you. You guys are ready tonight. I'm ready tonight. I promise you tonight will not disappoint you. And so as you guys are checking in, Mary Claggett, good evening. To Josie Baker, good evening. Y'all keep getting those numbers up. Come on, we're popping up the ladder here. All right, we're up to 65, 70. Come on, keep it going. I want everybody and their grandmama online tonight. You hear me? I don't want you to miss tonight. Tonight is about the whole family. You don't want to miss tonight. Get your kids. Sit them right in front of the screen. I know they've been in front of a screen all day long, but then tonight's going to be refreshing. And it is empowerment. It's something we all need tonight. In fact, I'm just going to tickle your fancy with this tonight because, you know, just a little teaser. I've been thinking about this subject for a minute, and I've been saying we need like a 101 dummy class on this, because I think everybody wants to pretend they know about this subject so they don't seem to be out of sorts when they don't know. But the reality is that so many people don't know what they need to know about this subject tonight, all right? And so tonight's subject is going to make sure we all walk away informed, empowered, and ready to do something. All right? Are you happy today? Are you happy? Somebody tell me you're blessed tonight. I dare you, type it. I'm blessed. And tell me why you're blessed today. In fact, if you're typing, I know why you're blessed, because you're still here. But listen, I'm so excited tonight to have our special guest with us. And in just a moment, I'm going to introduce him. I just want to yell hello to a few more folks. Jackie Moore, Jackie Hines, hello. Earlene Murray, God bless you tonight. Tandra Calvert, God bless you. Antoinette Kiaka Grant tonight, God bless you. So glad you're tuning in. Tonight to Irma Stalling, all the way from St. Louis tonight, thank you for checking in with us. And to Dale tonight, and to Brenda tonight, and Niecy Rowley, God bless you. And Karen and Michelle, wow, you folks are checking in tonight. Dr. Morris Mako, good evening to you, sir. Emmett Winston, my brother, thank you. You're blessed to be continually to be here. I know that's right. God bless you, Emmett. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, my goodness. Look at this. Folks are telling me why they're blessed right now. Vanessa Garrett Ingram says, I was given the gift of life. You're going to make me shout, and I ain't got no music tonight. I know that's right. God bless you. Look at this. We got George Hawkins on here tonight. Natasha Thomas on here tonight. My goodness, Venice is blessed for her health and her family. I am too. I thank God for my family and for your family. That's my family as well. God bless you. And also to Kendall Young, who's on here this evening. Sis, I'm so glad to have you on here tonight with us. To Latasha Jones, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Earlene Mary's joining us tonight. She says, I'm blessed to be of sound mind, body, and be among the living. That's a testimony. Yes. To Carlton Coates, good evening to you, sir. Welcome. To Keofa Downs, Pastor Key, thank you for joining us tonight. To Theodore, thank you for joining us. Let me give a great big shout out to FCCC in the house. God bless you guys. To Pastor Karen and Pastor Glinton and my FCCC family. family. God bless you guys. Also to Bernadine Dorsey is in the house tonight. Tracy Rakes, and my goodness, so many people are putting it here while you're blessed tonight. Mary Claggett says, he kept me and woke me up in my right mind. Aren't you glad he woke you up in your right mind? Some folk then gave away all their mind. A piece of mind here, a piece of mind there, and they ain't got no mind. Tonight, he got you in your right mind, and I celebrate you tonight. Listen to this. We've got Erica Benton on here tonight. Cheryl Biggins is checking in. Josie Baker says, I'm blessed because I know he's able. Don't you start nothing. We're going to have to go call on them Hebrew boys again. All right? Thank you, sis, for checking in tonight. Patricia Wilson is checking in tonight. Y'all, that's my administrator. God bless you for checking in tonight. Nicole Day is checking in. Brenda Potts from the Eastern Shore is checking in. Raveline Glenn, my homegirl from back in the day. She says, I'm blessed because God spared my daughter's life in a car accident. I'm going to dance on it right now. Come on, let me tell you, if nobody else dancing with you, I'm dancing with you right now because it could have been another way. God bless you all tonight. Are y'all ready tonight? Are you ready for tonight's topic? I tell you what, it looks like about 150 people are ready. Look at this. Lisa Brown is checking in from Guam. So that means it's about 9:30 on Friday morning in Guam, and we have our family in Guam checking in. God bless you, Lisa and Philip. So glad to have you guys checking in. I'm still here, is what Brenda Potts says. I know that's right. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you so much. LaShonda Hinton is in here tonight. Charlotte Noble says, I'm beyond blessed. How do you define it? My God. J-E-S-U-S. I love you for this. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for checking in tonight. FCC leadership, what up, Pastor? I know that's right. Thank you so much. To Tonda Gibbs, who's checking in tonight. To Nancy Foote, I love you. I miss you. I'm so glad you're checking in tonight. And tell Kathy I want her to check in tonight. All right, then my homegirls, my sisters. Alice Neal, good evening to you, sis. Thanks for checking in. Earlene is checking in. Jackie Moore is checking in. I think we're ready. I think we are ready. In fact, I am more than ready. I'm so excited tonight because tonight is a special night. I don't want you to turn this off because I say it's not going to be a Bible study. Tonight is an empowerment night, and let me tell you something. Sometimes we talk so much about the word that we overlook some very practical things that give us the power we need. So many people are praying about situations that really there's some other things we can do about it besides just pray. You know, I hear a lot of people say about everything, just pray. You know, conditions in our country, just pray. COVID, just pray. I want you to know an opportunity is coming to do something more than just pray. That opportunity has come upon us. We're in that season, and we've got to exercise it. It's called voting. Did you hear me, people? It's called casting your vote. It is something that our ancestors died for. It is something that people gave their life, blood shed for us so that we could go and cast that vote. Yes, it's a challenge, but tonight we are here to make it plain. Tonight is real talk tonight, and I brought somebody on tonight that I know is going to give some real talk, and that's my homeboy, my brother, Reverend Stephen Tillett is in the house tonight. Can y'all give him a virtual hand clap right where you are tonight? And Reverend Tillett's in the house. I'm going to introduce him properly in a moment, but I just want to let you know you're in the right place, right time, right station. Don't you turn that dial. I know it's not a dial. It's your TV. It's your computer. It's your phone. Don't change. Stick with us. You guys are going to have opportunity to get something you may not have thought you were going to get tonight. You're going to be so blessed. And then who else is in the house tonight but your homeboy, your cousin, not Kirk Franklin. No, it's not Kirk Franklin. But who is it? None other than Carter Chris White. Right, he's in the house tonight. Carter, make sure you show off your shirt tonight, and then I'm going to ask you where you got it a little later on. You can give us all the secret, but you got to vote because our future depends on it. Our now depends on it. Do you hear me? And so tonight, we are here to talk with Reverend Stephen Tillett. Let me tell you just a little bit about him. I don't want to read because he's my friend. Right? But I tell you this, he's an intelligent man, he's an author, he is a father, he is a pastor, he is an activist, he is absolutely really tuned in to what's going on in our culture, and he is a voice that refuses to be silent. All right? He refuses to be silent. He keeps that mouth open, and he has great things to say, and that's why I wanted him to come on here tonight, because he's going to tell it straight with no apologies. And I want to make sure that we all are empowered tonight, okay? And so Reverend Tillett was born and raised in Washington, D.C. I don't run into too many Washingtonians. He went to American University where he got his bachelor's degree in government, and School of Government and Business Administration, I believe. And then he got his master's degree from Howard University at School of Divinity and started pastoring in 1990 and has been pastoring ever since. He is the pastor of Asbury Broadneck United Methodist Church. Y'all know Asbury Church, the church where the people can sing. Do you hear me? Everybody in Broadneck Church can sing. I'm not lying. They have the best funerals of anybody I know. I love my church, but I'm telling you, if I go anytime soon, find a way to get me down to Broadneck before you put me in the ground. Because Broadneck going to have a whole choir. It could be Wednesday. They're going to leave work. They're going to come and they're going to celebrate and send you into the kingdom. I love my Broadneck family. I'm shouting out to y'all. If you all are on here tonight, some of y'all shout out that you're on here to support your pastor tonight because he is a true man of God and he's with us tonight. He has a wonderful book that's out that I'm going to be promoting because I know the content of this book and it's Don't Fall for the Okie Doke. And I have the book here today and I want to make sure you guys know this book is nothing but the truth. This puts a true light on the truth of the matter. As you all know, we've been talking, history is something that tends to be his story, told from someone's perspective. Well, this is, in my essence, in my opinion, the essence of the truth of history, the people's history of the United States. All right, and he talks to us about race. And that's what we're here to talk to you about tonight, is about this vote, this election that is coming up here very shortly in about 7 to 8 weeks. All right, we are so close and we have to do some things and we got to do it right. So I need some of y'all to shout out a hello to Pastor Tillett. Mary Claggett says, welcome, Pastor Tillett. Steve, welcome, my buddy.
Thank you.
We're Steve and Craig. We're Steve and Craig.
Yes, we
All
are.
right, I'm just letting y'all know we Steve and Craig. So y'all come on and tune in now.
The first time. Apostle, it's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
God bless you.
Bless you.
Okay, now we Craig and Steve.
Craig and Steve. There you go.
Okay, Steve, man, thank you for coming on tonight. We're going to get right into it in just a second. I just want to make sure they get a picture of who you are. He is married, okay? So sisters that are single, sorry, he's married. He's taken. He is married to my girl, Dr. Sharita, who is an amazing woman of God and a gynecologist and doctor. She's a real doctor, y'all, okay? And a great woman. And he has beautiful children. He has 2 older children. Let's see, his son is a dynamic music producer, right?
Training for music production.
Training for music production. But his daughter is an news anchor lady in North Carolina on the news station. Okay, I've been trying to do my homework, and then he's got precious little Miss Sophia, who is the crowning jewel, and she is now 8 years old. I cannot believe it. I keep telling them they need one more. They need one more. Sharita, if you're listening, y'all need one more. I'm speaking it over y'all right now. I blow that anointing on y'all. You can't give it back. Okay, so listen, tonight, we got the right men in the house tonight. We're going to have a discussion tonight. I'm going to put this down because I want you all to post some questions if there's anything that you want to know tonight. This is the right time to have this conversation. Steve, let me just say this. First of all, I invited you on here because I like to be relevant. I like to keep people up to date on topics. We're beyond the Lord to make a way somehow. We're looking at the somehow. You know, how is he doing it? And I believe that voting is an opportunity that every American should really value if they've ever studied this whole process of elections and voting outside of our country. I remember some years ago in undergrad, I had a course on the democratic process in Africa. And they were looking at the trial experiments in, dictatorships versus the democratic process, free and fair elections. And I oftentimes said during that course, we don't have free and fair elections yet. How are we helping every other country establish democracy? We have not mastered it ourselves. And I believe back during that time, there were issues with the vote in Florida during a very controversial election, and I'm saying, and we are telling other people that they need to be like us, and we have not mastered it, And being an African-American studies major, your book hit my heart because I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, the Three-Fifths Compromise. I don't hear enough people talking about what happened to Reconstruction, why did it stop? I don't have a lot of people talking about the Electoral College, And so as it is today, and many scholars are starting to have this conversation more frequently today, we are under a fabric that is torn, mangled, and old. And is in need of much revision, and where do we start? We start with where we are, and what are we going to do about where we are? Of course, the COVID crisis is central to this election. George Floyd's bloodshed, innocent blood, because he didn't deserve what he got. Jacob Blake, is all of these things.
Arbery,
And
Breonna
on
Taylor, Tamir Rice, John Crawford III. Somebody get the list.
Get the list. Get the list. And yet, though this list is growing, we don't see the change that we need to see yet.
Right.
So here we are with the opportunity to either complain some more,
Right.
do the little churchy thing and pray about it some more, or we can take some action. I'm at action personally. So I'm going to turn it over. Talk to us tonight. What?
Well, first of all, you were talking about the churchy thing isn't enough, and you're right. The Bible says faith without works is dead.
It's dead.
And we have an election in less than 60 days. And I know all of you who are sick of politics and the election, please raise your hand. I can raise both of them. I've seen more ESPN in the last year than I ever saw in my entire life because I was tired of the news.
Yes.
However, this election is one that's going to either improve your life or batten down the hatches. Here's the thing. You're concerned about your vote. Some of you say my vote doesn't matter. Some of you say, well, it's not going to count. Nobody cares what I think. So I have a question for you. Why is it that people are doing everything they can to suppress your vote and steal your vote if your vote does not matter?
If it doesn't matter.
In Georgia right now, there's somebody sitting in the governor's mansion who shouldn't be there because they stole votes away from Stacey Abrams, who should have been there. They purged the voter rolls. They penalize you, in the United States. Well, if you haven't voted in the last 1 or 2 elections, they just take your voting right away, and then you have to apply, you have to register again. So they purged a couple of 100,000 people off the voting rolls, and then they called other things into question, and then check this. So Brian Kemp, who is the governor now, was the Secretary of State.
Yes.
The Secretary of State is the referee dealing with voting issues in an election. So he was the referee and a contestant. Where they do that at? But as a result, they have Brian Kemp. Why is that important? Your vote matters. Your life can depend on it, literally. We have this COVID crisis.
Yes.
We have people dealing with fiction coming from the White House. Drink some bleach, you'll be all right. And we have people following him in other states around the country. So if Stacey Abrams were the governor of Georgia rather than Brian Kemp, who stole the election from Stacey Abrams, then they would have had a much different approach and a much different outcome. There would have been less death as a result. Same thing in Florida. They had, if you're a felon, you're an ex-felon, they wanted to restore, the people of Florida wanted to restore felons' rights to vote. They passed a ballot initiative so that you could restore your right to vote.
Yes.
And those in the legislature then says, well, okay, but if you have any outstanding court costs, you have to pay that first. Back in the day, that was called a poll tax.
Yes.
So the legislature, which is the GOP, and I don't even call them this, GOP is big grand old party. GOP is gangsta old party, because they just gangsta. They do whatever the heck they want to.
Yes, yes.
But they said, well, thank you, public, the people that we're supposed to work for your suggestion.
Yes.
We're going to add this extra layer. Because they know that if hundreds of thousands of former felons who want to vote and be reacclimated into society get to vote, there would be different outcomes. And if Andrew, I think his first name was Gillen, was the governor rather than DeSantis, who's another Trump clone, they would have had a different process in Florida. Less people would have died. Your life can depend on your vote. So don't you ever say again, and I know that right now Ice Cube has been out talking, Cube has been talking about, well, don't just give your vote away, and people say that people died for your vote, but not really. Yeah, people did die for your vote. Ask Werner, Cheney, and Goodman, okay, down in Mississippi, that they had to drag a river to find them.
Right.
People did die for your right to vote, and right now, unless you vote, something bad happened last time. Because people sat on it. It's like, when we were excited about Barack Obama in 2008 and 2012, Hillary Clinton, we're not as excited about in 2016. You're not going to always have the perfect candidate. Obama wasn't the perfect candidate. But you know what? Vote for the candidate that has most of your interests in mind.
Absolutely.
Yes, we do need for them, Ice Cube was talking about a contract. It's like, I want to know what you're going to do for me. I get that. However, not voting is casting a vote for the status quo. You want the occupant to stay in there, don't vote.
Yes.
Voting for, now check this. Kanye West, isn't it interesting that people who are Trump supporters are trying to get Kanye West on the ballot in some states around the country?
Hello,
Why?
people.
So that there are people, that's okie doke, by the way, don't fall for the okie doke. But that Kanye then, if you vote for Kanye, that's a vote that probably would have gone to Biden. Instead it goes to Kanye, thereby dropping Biden's numbers, which allows Trump to maybe just creep through just enough. Now, believe me when I tell you, Trump's going to lose the election in terms of the popular vote. He lost last time by over 3 million. This time, hopefully we're going to beat the brakes off him. It'll be 6, 7 million, all right? But they have this thing called the Electoral College. And basically what the Electoral College does is their votes matter. And if you get 270 votes or more, you win. If you don't, you lose. Now here's the problem with the Electoral College. Let's say, we'll pick a big state like California.
Yes.
Let's say that Craig Coates got 10 million votes. Steve Tillett gets 9,999,999 votes. In California, Craig Coates gets almost 60 electoral votes, 58, whatever they have, and I get 0. How does that make sense? Why does that make sense? They established the Electoral College when they were doing the Constitution, drafting the Constitution in the late 1700s.
Right.
With slavery in mind.
That's right.
How do we factor this in? And I cover that in my book where James Madison, the 4th president, one of the architects of the Constitution, said, on account of Negroes, we got to figure out how to deal with the vote because we can't allow Negroes to count as far as voters are concerned. And so they came up with this Electoral College. If that's what they needed to do to get the country going in 1789, 1787, 88,
but
89.
This is 2020.
Right, it's 2020. Slavery is over, at least officially. And so
but actually it isn't over.
Well, I know,
if we define it truly.
Of the 13th Amendment, and they can still
and massive
they don't call
incarceration.
It slavery, but it's called mass incarceration.
Right.
But after the Civil War was over, they should have been done with it.
Should have been.
Like, okay, slavery's over, so we don't need this anymore. And every time the Electoral College, since slavery, has come up with a vote, a result that is different from the express will of the voters, bad things have happened. 1876, Tilden had not just more votes, but a majority of the votes.
So hold up, because we're going to go there.
Okay.
We're going to go there. Because I ain't bring you on to have to lecture. Because I want to go there. Because, see, the things you're saying are the things that are true. Right. We have this platform tonight to help people understand some historical context behind this fight for your vote or for your not voting. Right. And I think you've made this very clear to us that if our vote was not important, why is there such a tactic and a strategy to undermine and to disenfranchise the voter and to not make our vote count? Like, for example, what in the world is happening with the Postal Service? You know, I am at this place, you know, I used to feel for postal workers because I said, you know, with email and all of the modern technology, you know, I'm going to try to support the Postal Service as much as I can. But my company sends out all of our packages to our clients via the Postal Service. We could use FedEx, anybody else, but we actually use USPS. And I pay $7 minimum per package for it to get to my client in one day. I just recently found out, looking online, that most of my clients hadn't gotten their things in 3 days, that I paid for one day. And I'm saying, wait a minute, what's going on? And it dawned on me that there is a problem going on here with the Postal Service that is not just impacting my business, but it will impact this election.
And
Talk
it impacts
about this.
medications, because
Yes,
some people get the
medications, all of it, yes,
So
yes.
they're playing politics
What's happening
with
with the Postal Service? Yes,
Well,
what?
see, again, the people that you put in positions matter.
Yes,
And for the people that voted for him, 62 million plus voted for him, 65 million plus voted for Clinton, but because of the Electoral College, Donald Trump got the keys. And in the last 4 years, they've been eviscerating, just
Yes.
tearing down different aspects of our government.
Yes.
And now they're going for the post office. They're coming for the post office because people want to vote by mail. Why do they want to vote by mail? Because standing in line to vote for 5 or 6 hours during a pandemic is a bad idea.
yes,
And
yes,
so then Donald Trump has been saying, well, it's because of voter fraud do we need to do this. Let me tell you about voter fraud. There was a study done about votes, all the votes cast
Yes.
in elections between the year 2000 and 2014. And there were, if memory serves, 37 acts of voter fraud out of over 1 billion, that's with a B, votes
yes,
cast.
yes,
That's 0.00000037%.
Yes.
Okay? That's 1/1,000,000 of a percent of a vote.
Yes.
Of a percent. That's not a problem. But they manufacture this concern that there's a problem, and as a result, they're now saying, well, we don't trust the mail. Now, the interesting thing is that a lot of our people are still saying, I ain't going down there and stand in line, so they're still going to vote by mail. A lot of Republicans who used to vote by mail are listening to the occupant, and so they're not going to vote by mail, so he's really hurting himself.
yes.
But
So-
again,
so-
I want you to understand, they're messing with the post office, they're messing with the mail to try and deter
When
your
you say
vote.
messing with the mail, because I have folks asking, yeah, what's up with the
So
Postal
there
Service?
were
What's
mail
happening?
processing machines.
Yes.
Mail sorting machines.
Yes,
They have broken them down, taken some machines apart.
That's right.
So that then that slows it down.
That's right.
They've taken some boxes up, the mail boxes that used to be on every third corner, they've taken some of them up to intentionally slow things down. And so here's your solution to the problem. You need to request your ballot. You can either call your Board of Elections, go online to request it, or send in a document that they will send you your ballot. And when you receive it, please do not wait till November 3rd. Fill out your ballot and then hand carry it either to the Board of Elections, or I know in Maryland you can drop it off at any of the early voting sites. So that
okay,
you
so
can go
where do
anywhere.
people find those early voting sites?
They have a website
Okay,
for the state of Maryland,
okay.
and let me put my glasses on. so I
Our
can see
numbers are
what's in.
going through the roof right now. This is important conversation. So as you all are tuning in, and you may be just tuning in, I'm Apostle Craig Coates. We're Craig tonight and Steve tonight. I have with me Reverend Stephen Tillett, and we are talking about the voting process tonight. We're talking about this upcoming election, because here's the thing. We got to do more than just pray about it. We got to be about it. And so we want to give you all of the truth tonight about this election, things that are happening to undermine your vote, to discourage your vote. And we want to just make sure people get the right information that are in the kingdom, all right? And so we are not in the pulpit in the church, all right? And so we are not violating any laws. This is Apostle Craig Coates Presents tonight, okay? And so we'll make this clear for the haters, all right? But what I wanted to say is tonight, Reverend Tillett is giving us some historical content, but he's also talking about right now what's happening with the Postal Service. What is actually going on for those of you that are working, and because sometimes the media, depending on what you're listening to, you're not necessarily getting true information, okay? And so we've sorted through a whole lot to get to the truth, okay? And we're now here to tell the truth and set us free. So,
aacounty.org.
So, right, aacounty.org
www.vote.
/ vote.
AA County, Anne Arundel County, aacounty.org.
Right, and we're gonna put this in our chat section so you guys can get this, and we're gonna post this as
And
well.
what this site does is it has a list of all of the early voting sites around Anne Arundel County.
Yes,
And what you can do is you can request your ballot through the mail.
yes,
Fill it out. Don't forget to sign it. Please
Yes.
don't forget to sign. Don't give anybody any reason. I think you're supposed to sign the envelope.
and it's on the screen for you right now.
Don't forget to sign and then hand carry it. Drive to one of these places that's near you. They are all over the county, whether it's Pip Moyer in Annapolis or Early Heights Volunteer Fire Hall in Severna Park, Glen Burnie, Arnold, Pasadena, Linthicum, Lothian. They're all over the county. You can go to one of these sites that you see up on the screen.
Yes.
And hand carry your vote. So that way you're not even messing with the post office. Your vote is there, hand
How
carried.
does a person know their vote counted? How would they know that their vote was received? That's a question.
In some states, there is a barcode that is
Yes.
on your ballot. And so the barcode, when it goes through the processing, when they start counting them, lets you know that your
Yes.
ballot has been received.
But what
You
we
know?
do know, is this correct, that the hand carrying your ballot is a more accurate way to handle voting this election?
Yes.
Correct.
Because then you won't wait in line.
And then there's no Russian interference or nobody else's so-called
right.
electronic interference.
Now, Craig, here's the other thing. Here's
yes.
the other thing. I don't know that some of you, I imagine, probably have precincts
Right.
in your county, in your city, your state. And hello to the folks in Guam. I did a rotation in Guam while I was a chaplain in the Air Force at Anderson Air Force Base back in 2006, where they are intentionally trying to slow things down. So those precincts, number one, have less voting machines than other precincts.
Yes.
Number two, they always seem, one or two of them always seem to break down during the day, which means that you have long lines of people for hours waiting to vote. In a pandemic, that's a bad idea.
Yes.
So if you have your ballot, you hand carry it. You don't even have to wait in line. Hand carry it. Drop it in the box that they will have
Yes.
for ballots there
Yes.
at a
And it says those
early
boxes
voting.
will be available as of October the 1st.
as an early voting, and go on about your life. And it's done. Now, the other thing is this. In the state of Pennsylvania and other states now, the occupant is saying, so we're going to send monitors to protect the sanctity of the vote, to make sure that there's no voter fraud. Let me break that down and translate it for you. What that means is they're going to have people sounding official, maybe in a tie or some official shirt. They might have a badge that they flash real quick for you not to see or whatever. And they're going to start asking you for your information. It's none of their business.
Right.
So, first of all, if you happen to be in line and they try to come to you, just tell them to talk to the hand. And you keep, you don't owe them any explanation for anything. But number two, they're trying to intimidate people. Well, have you ever been convicted of a crime? Have you ever served any time in jail? Because if you did, then you can't, depending upon where you live, that's a
Yes.
lie. In Maryland, once you're out of jail, unless your sentence was a voting infraction that you tried to stuff a ballot box or steal votes or something, you can vote when you get out of jail in Maryland. So don't let anybody lie to you and tell you that you can't. But they're going to have these people. So here's what I need to ask you. Here's where we go off script a little bit. I know we're saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost. But if they're really trying to set some people up around some of our precincts to intimidate people, some of y'all need to ask some of your cousins that ain't saved yet
Oh, Lord.
or haven't been saved too long to come hang around at the polls that day just to make sure that you all are protected and your right to cast your vote is not infringed.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what time it is. They're doing everything they can to steal your vote. Therefore, your vote must be important. Don't let anything stop it. But if you can, and you've been hearing everybody saying it recently, make a plan. They need you to make a plan. And your plan is right now, get online, request your ballot or the application to request the ballot, whatever that process is. And if you do it now, it's September, 11th?
Yes,
September
tomorrow.
11th?
Tomorrow's the 11th.
Okay, tomorrow's the 11th. Tomorrow, September 11th, that gives you almost 2 months because the election is November 3rd. The mail will not move that slowly.
No.
You'll get it back, but then don't put the ballot in the mail.
No.
Hand carry.
Hand carry it, people. I see some of you are posting about that if you request it by mail, they'll give you a self-return envelope. Forget the stamp, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Make a field trip.
Yes.
Okay, and don't don't stick this thing back in the mail. Make a field trip with it. Take it, choose the day. You're going to put your mask on, you'll put your spacesuit on, everything, and you're going to go and you're going to hand carry it down and put it in the box.
Now,
okay?
in Maryland, you can carry other ballots with you if they're people in your immediate family,
Right.
or people that live in the house you live in.
Right, so only
So,
in the immediate family.
Immediate family, but that means
Or in the house.
Mama and them,
Right.
grandma and pop,
Right,
kids, grandkids, brothers, sisters.
Yes.
You can carry those back to, because they're
Yes.
all your immediate family. You
Yes.
can take those to the polls, or if they're people living at the same residence.
yes.
So if you have several people living in a house, even if they're not related, those, but you can't just, okay, well, I'm gonna get Miss Ann and Miss Jane's ballot and take that in, because if you're not related to them, you're not allowed to do that.
Yes, yes. This is good information tonight. Let me go here with something here. I am very heavily entrenched in this whole voting process and understanding how it all works. I know in government there's supposed to be checks and balances. Okay, the checks been bouncing. We ain't seen checks, we ain't seen balances. Okay, but is it not true that our focus does not just need to be on the presidential election this year or any time, that we have to also consider the names of the people who serve in the Senate and the House, things of that sort? Because as we know, that at this point, historically, the Senate, when it is of the same persuasion as the president, has tended to lean toward that president,
Right.
either way, right?
And so right now you have Donald Trump, who's a Republican.
Yes.
And you have the Senate
a Republican,
controlled by Republicans.
Republican-controlled Senate.
And so they have had the power
Yes,
to ignore the Democrats because they're in the minority,
right.
to appoint whoever they want
And
to the courts.
and please help other folks understand, this is also one of the reasons why there's such a tie-up in getting extra stimulus money, getting unemployment money to people, because there's this conflict here. But it's amazing because one side says it's the other,
Right.
you know, but yet the proposals are slimmed down as if people got plenty to spare when folks are standing in line for
Well,
food
the Senate
as we
plan-
speak.
The Senate plan, I think, was $500 million, $500 million.
Yes,
The House plan, which is Democratic controlled, Nancy Pelosi is the Speaker of the House, was $3 trillion.
right,
Now, they did $2 or $3 trillion last time.
right,
Of course, some of it, they always manage to peel some off for the rich people that don't need it. But all of this needed to come to us. Some of the money out of the $3 trillion was supposed to go to local and state governments because they're having financial issues. And the Congress, the Senate does not want to do that. So the Senate and the Congress, the House of Representatives sent their bill over a couple of months ago.
Absolutely.
It's been sitting there gathering dust.
Yes.
And now the Senate responds, well, how about $500 billion? So.
that's
you
a
know,
tremendous decrease, tremendous.
It's one-sixth of what the House has proposed. And so as a result, it's not going anywhere. But now everybody thinks, well, we proposed something, so now we can blame them for not acting. That's okey-doke as well. But understand, first of all, let's just get this. If you've heard before an expression of an off-year election, I need you to, if you could take a piece of paper out of your head and ball it up and throw it away, do that. There's no such thing as an off-year election.
Right,
Anytime there's an election, you need to be voting.
you need to be
So
voting.
in Maryland this year, in Anne Arundel County, the only votes are for president, Congress, the House of Representatives, and the school board.
Yes,
The school board is important because they're the ones that decide the policies that are going to affect our children.
as we see now.
You're not going to run into the president in the store. You might not run to your member of Congress in the store. There's a good chance you might run into your school board member in the store. They're the ones closest to you. In 2 years, when they call it an off-year election, that's when you're going to elect your governor, your attorney general,
Yes.
your comptroller, county executive, members of the state senate and House
Right.
of Delegates,
Right.
county council, your prosecutor, your county prosecutor, the state's attorney. All of those things matter.
But
And
the
they matter
U.S.
to
Senate,
you,
the
but you
U.S.
gotta
Senate.
vote.
Right, and your U.S. Senate elections.
Right, so U.S. Senate is every 6 years,
Right.
and so both of them are not elected the same year. This year, neither one of them is up,
Neither.
either Van Hollen or Cardin. But in 2 years,
In 2 years.
I think it'll be Cardin.
We
One-
should
one
be,
of them.
yes. So-
But member of Congress every 2 years.
So let's, the lines are lit up. Everybody is chiming in here today. I'm so glad to see so many of you interested in this subject here. Thank you so much. I want to ask this question. In fact, one of our participants says the Board of Elections on Ordnance Road in Glen Burnie has an election box right outside the door, okay? Good information for us. Oh, great. Someone got a ballot they requested a ballot 2 weeks ago. 5 days later, they got the application, mailed it back in today. They got their ballot. All right. Thank you so much for sharing this information. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to be looking at this chat section at the same time you're listening to us because folks are posting. This is really good. I want to talk about the black vote. I have my opinions about when I hear the black vote. When a candidate carries the black vote. I personally feel like we are so diverse as a people that what do you mean when you just make us one homogenous group, the black vote?
Well, they try to oversimplify it, and it's interesting you say that. So earlier today I was listening to cable, probably CNN, and they were talking about, they had a Latino man on there, and he was talking about the Latino vote.
Yes.
And they talk about Cuban,
yes,
Puerto Rican,
right, yes,
Latin America.
Right.
They broke it down into 3 or 4 different sections.
Of course, yes.
For us, it's just the black vote.
Right.
And we are not a monolith.
No.
We vote, people think
Exactly.
differently, they vote differently.
Exactly.
I know that Donald Trump is going to get some votes from the African American community. There's some people that think he's doing a good job. Some people among our family have money, and so they're benefiting from the things that rich people benefit from, where the rest of us don't.
And have a right to cast their vote wherever they like.
You vote for whoever you want to vote for. But what I would say
it might break up the family right now, but vote. You might not get an invite Thanksgiving, but vote.
But determine who is advocating in your best interest. And right now is not the time to split hairs. I have a friend that I very, very much respect, an activist here in the county. I'm not going to call her name, but she has been posting some things on Facebook, and it's like, unless the candidates are for health care for all and a couple other things, they're not getting my vote. And it's like, okay, and I said, but now's not really the time for that. And she had a response that made it, and she said, but it's never a good time. According to people, this is the most important election of your life. It's never a good time. And I understand what she's saying. There's a certain point when you need to back folk up off you and say, either you need to handle your business and meet our needs in terms of policy, or else we're going to stop supporting you. I get that. However, this time, we got a stinking hot mess going on there. A lawless administration that is doing whatever they want to do.
No boundaries.
The Constitution for toilet paper. Whenever they want to do something that is outside of bounds, where there is an inspector general in place, they will either reassign or fire the inspector general. It's like, you don't like the calls you're getting out on the basketball court, so you make the referee go sit in the stands so you can do what you want and foul people and not get called. Who does that? But these are the kinds of lawless things. He was impeached once, has already done some things that are probably impeachable since the last impeachment, and God help us if the Electoral College manages to put him back in January of 2021, because then what's going to hold him back then? He has to try and act like he got a little bit of sense now, just a little, because he needs your vote. So he needs to keep the people that like him on him, and then they need to try to suppress as many of us as possible to get him back in.
Speaking of Kanye West, I don't know if you've read my book, but my book, 5780, was very prophetic. In fact, I said I typed it, God wrote it. And I even spoke in the book about the role of Kanye West. And I do believe that Kanye West is a pivoting point this year. And you know, my grandmother always said that you got to be careful of the face that you don't see, because they still have a voice. And when you mention about how Kanye may suddenly appear on the ballot as a divisive form, I find that the African-American community oftentimes has put so much trust in individuals, in the individuals to be truthful with us, to truly represent our cause, et cetera. And we find out at the end of the day, basically, they're representing their own selves. And if they can take us along for the ride, it works. But what do you believe is going to be the strategy, if we have one, to get young people voting this election? Talk to us.
You need to vote because it's in your own self-interest. If you are a student saddled with student debt, or you want to go to college, you're afraid to go because of student debt, what party? And again, I'm a registered independent. I'm unaffiliated. So
Yes. Right.
My dad used to have a saying about the two parties. He said the only difference between the Democrats and the Republicans is that the Democrats usually kiss you first.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Politics.
But we leave a step out and we tell people you got to register and you have to vote. But there are a couple other steps in between. You need to register to vote. Then you need to get educated on what the issues are, who the candidates are. Then you must vote. And then here's the thing we really leave out. And then you must follow up. You don't come and, okay, well, we'll see you again in 4 years or 6 years or 2 years. No, 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 no. Now you go as the voter for whom they work and say, these are the policy initiatives, this is the legislation we need you to pass on behalf of we the people.
Yes, we
So that
need
you
his volume
hold
up a
them
little.
accountable.
Yes, yes, we need Tillet's volume just a little more. People are saying we need a little more volume on it. Okay, yes, yes.
But you hold them accountable. So young people, you've been dealt a bad hand. And the hand is not your fault. You got this hand from your grandparents' generation and your parents' generation and maybe even your older siblings' generation. But guess what? You all, the longer you live, the more they're going to be of you and the less they're going to be of us. You need to take control of the way that things are moving in this government in terms of policy with your votes and with your advocacy. And if you sit home and don't vote, I need to go there one time. Can I go there one time?
Yeah, go ahead.
When I was in high school, my constitutional law teacher, this is the way he put it, and I know you church folks are going to clutch the pearls, but it is what it is. Mr. Harding used to say, if you don't vote, you lose your right to bitch. If you don't vote, stop talking.
Right, right.
If you don't vote, don't complain.
'Cause your
There's
vote is your
nothing
voice.
you can say because you didn't commit anything to the process.
Yeah.
If you vote, you can say everything you need to say, even if your candidate lost, because you are a participant.
Right.
Do not be a spectator. This is not the year to be a spectator.
Never should you be a spectator, right?
Forgive me.
Yeah, never, ever. No, that's okay. I've got some good stuff for us now. Let's switch lanes for just a moment, and then I'm going to bring Chris in on this conversation. I'm saving him for a particular moment. I want to talk about the Christian values, okay? Because I believe that our love for Christ is being played. For example, under the false pretense. You can get my book if you haven't got my book. My book talks about evangelicalism and Trump and all of that, okay? And I make no apologies because it's true. But I want to say this because it's impossible for you to be against abortion, against same-sex marriage, but you're okay with treating black people like slaves again. To me, there's an issue. There's an issue. And I think a lot of people are being challenged to deal with their convictions about what they believe when they go to the ballot. You know, we have one party, let's be real, right? We have the Democratic Party, which has been the party that supports same-sex marriage and a woman's right to choose, et cetera, et cetera. Then we have the Republican Party that says we don't believe in abortion, we don't believe in same-sex marriage, et cetera, et cetera. Now, you're the Christian going to the ballot to vote, and you believe that God holds you accountable for your vote. So you place your vote where your belief is, but then we get what we got for the last 4 years.
Well, you talked about same-sex marriage, Craig. Here's the thing. Same-sex marriage is the law of the land. It is no longer a debate.
It's not a debate
whether you agree with it or not, or like it or not. I mean, understand this, that there's some people that an inter-ethnic marriage, I don't call them interracial because there's only one race, the human
Right.
race, but an inter-ethnic marriage between somebody who's white and somebody who's brown or Latino or Chinese or whatever, Asian or whatever, that there's some people that find that to be wrong. They disagree with that. You're entitled to your opinion, but the law of the land says people can marry whoever they want, of any shade, any hue, and now, because of a conservative Supreme Court,
Yes.
the Supreme Court had a 5-4 majority of conservatives
Right.
appointed by Republican presidents,
Right.
and the vote was to allow same-sex marriage.
So it is not up for debate.
It's the law of the land, and the conservatives had the last say
Yes,
on that
yes.
issue.
Yes.
As far as abortion and pro-life, I get that. I absolutely get that. But here's the thing. It was a Catholic nun who talked about the pro-life movement in the
Yes.
country. And she said it's not really a pro-life movement, it's a pro-birth movement. Because all they're really concerned about is that the multiplying cells, the embryo becomes a fetus and then goes through gestation and is born.
But then.
And then after that, you're on your own.
Right,
Because
right.
those same people don't want to provide health care, they don't want to provide dental care, they don't support Head Start, they don't want to make college affordable or close to free. They're okay with you sending your kids over to another country to be at war. We've been at war for the last 17 years.
Yes.
We invaded a country that didn't attack us in 2003, destabilized the whole region, giving birth to ISIS and every other thing, and they've been sending your children, your cousins, over to fight their wars while the defense companies make money hand over fist for the last 17 years. If you're pro-life, why are you willing to let people just be in an endless war and to get wounded and maimed or killed? That's not pro-life.
So what you're saying.
Nutrition, people are starving. That has now
Yeah.
been made is front and center
Yes.
as a result of the pandemic.
Yes. And so, because I really want to talk about that piece, because I understand where a lot of folks' hearts are about this piece, especially if your convictions are what your convictions are. And I don't believe abortion is right either, but I also do believe that a woman has a right to make her own choice. That's free will. I think that's what God gave us in the very beginning. And everybody will be judged for their decisions.
Which got us into trouble. But
Right,
anyway.
right. But I think it comes down to, in a lot of cases when it comes to an election, we got bad and worse to choose from, truth be told, you know. I can't say that I'm extremely pleased and excited and confident about the opponent that will face Donald Trump whatsoever, honestly. And I think that at this point in our lives, as long as we've been doing this, it's sad that it comes down to our country being so polarized, you know, so divided, that we are either this or we're that. And why can't we choose what represents us best from both sides of the field? Right. You know, why do we have to be strictly one or the other? I think the question people want to understand is, how do they go in and vote their conscience at the same time and not get the outcome we're getting? Like if we're saying, don't vote for this candidate, but that candidate represents, per se, your Christian values. Now, this is not saying this is the answer. I'm just putting it like folks probably are thinking right now. And if I'm on it, somebody just say, you're going my alley, okay? Because I have a lot of folks that I am now having conversations with who are Christians just like myself, who are staunch supporters of the Republican Party because of these things. But then here's where I challenge them. But you can overlook all the other stuff.
So,
You know, so
Craig Coates
I'm not
is a
asking you to
candidate.
tell somebody what to do.
Craig
but
Coates is a candidate for office.
I'm a candidate for office.
He's on his third wife, got 3 baby mamas, a series of bankruptcies and bad debts welched on
Tell my
his
story,
employees
tell
and
my story.
contractors. He is an acknowledged, you know, people have heard him utter many racist things. He's never been seen, for the most part, to darken the door of a church with his shadow, except during election time.
Uh-huh.
When he wants to talk about the Bible, he said something about 2 Corinthians.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
Because he don't know nothing about the Bible.
Wow.
Craig doesn't know any of those things, but yet you're going to support him because he represents your values? Come on. That's not even realistic. And here's the thing.
That person doesn't necessarily represent your values if they don't practice it themselves.
And if all he's doing is appointing, if you're happy, well, he's appointing conservative judges. Okay, so for all my brown people in the House, Donald Trump has appointed 198 judges
Yes.
to the federal judiciary, including the 2 Supreme Court appointments, one of which was stolen from President Obama by Mitch McConnell, Majority Leader, Senator from Kentucky.
Okay.
One of the 2 or 3 most dangerous men in the country, him, Bill Barr, the Attorney General, and Trump. How many of those 198 do you think would we see at our family reunion? How many of them are brown like us?
Yes.
How many?
Yeah, okay, so because we're going to come back again.
0.
Yeah, we got to come back again.
0.
You're right.
None.
We got to come back again because we do have to talk about race. We have to talk about color. We have to talk about this because we are being impacted tremendously every election. We've had a black president, right? And our black president says, gays, this White House is yours too, okay? There are a lot of people that had a problem with that. And I think that in order to vote what is right, you have to look at a bigger picture than just issues like abortion, same-sex marriage only. You have to look at how that candidate's views impact your life and your family and your children and how they will live. I think the last 4 years, we have not even felt the impact of these 4 years until later. And what's so sad is that we'll start to see the aftermath of this, and people will say, well, it happened on whoever's watch, when in reality, Obama was the cleanup man. We didn't go to war on Obama's term. Obama found Osama. That's all I got to say. Okay. I'm going to put that on the shirt. Remember, Obama found Osama. Okay. But so many Christians, we love the Lord. And we want to do what's right. We want to do what's right. But as I'm having conversations, this hopefully helps someone out. I'm having conversations with other Christian leaders, my white brothers, who are saying what's happening to black people is ridiculous. How do we get skin in this game and help? And I said, you have to look at yourself first. Mm-hmm. You've got to kill the monster in you because he's there. Mm-hmm. You might not think he's there, but let's talk a little longer. And when I hit the right funny bone, he's coming out, okay? And the funny bone for many that I've hit, once we finally talk, is Trump. Trump. This is the funny bone. When we talk about police brutality, they are repentant, they're on the altar. Everybody wants to go to the altar. We got to stop killing black and brown people like this. This is a sin. But then when I bring in the endorser of all of this, the monster rises. And I'm saying, I see the monster, but I ain't scared, and I ain't running from the table. But until you conquer that, nothing you say you support that you call righteousness is true righteousness if you can still accept lives being dehumanized.
And if you look at, I just want you to look at the policies of the parties.
Absolutely. So good. This is what I want.
Take human sexuality out of it.
Yes, I want to talk
because
policy.
Most of us have gay people in our family anyway. So don't act like it's something brand new. We don't know nothing about it.
Right.
Take same-sex marriage out of it because it's the law of the land passed by, approved, granted by a conservative Supreme Court.
Right. The court granted it. That is a fact.
Abortion should be legal, and we would pray rare. And if policies make it such that people, women in particular, single moms, often, unfortunately, because guys make babies and then roll out, which is an issue and a concern, another conversation for another day.
That's another conversation.
But that if they knew they were going to have insurance, that they'd have child care, that they, as I say, health insurance, that there would be Head Start, that there would be other things to support them with these children, they might be less likely to have abortion. But you can't oppose the things that support life, but then say you're pro-life. And then here's the other thing on pro-life. There's a law, I'm not sure whether it was Alabama or Arkansas, one of those states, where they said that if a woman has been raped and becomes pregnant, she can't get an abortion unless she gets the agreement of the rapist to abort the child.
Wow. Wow.
Why did that make sense to anybody?
Well, I think that's another whole conversation about how women have been dehumanized in our
Yes.
culture and still continue to be done so as such. But that's why I do celebrate Kamala Harris if she gets this opportunity, because she represents women, and I believe women's voices are always being marginalized and underrepresented. I believe women have a right to talk and speak for themselves and to make decisions, because if they're living in a man's world that has not been fair.
They're
you
living
know,
in a man's world
that hasn't
that is
been fair.
majority female.
Majority female, absolutely. But what I'm getting at is, without nailing you or I down to our personal beliefs, I think that people are tuning in tonight to hear what are the issues they need to really utilize when they're casting their vote. Is their vote for a candidate a vote for homosexuality? Is it a vote for against abortion? And I think we have to answer.
It's a vote for health care.
Right. Okay, wait a minute. Right. So we have to answer that directly. No, it's not.
Right.
It's not, because neither candidate necessarily ever has to represent or talk about any of those issues the entire time they're in office, right? But it is a vote for other matters that are on the table, that are matters we decide every election.
Yes.
Every election. You know, the Supreme Court has handed down the decision on same-sex marriage, and states are doing what they do, oppose it, whatever. Either way.
But it's the law of the land.
But there are some other, right, but there's some other issues that impact us besides what who my neighbor is marrying, or who my neighbor down the street has gone to a back office abortion clinic. It's other issues that impact me and my family and my life, and you vote about those issues.
Right.
Health care, you know, Social Security, all of these.
Making decisions about when it's safe for your kids to go back
Right,
to school.
going back to school.
Making decisions about
how about
whether
just
you're dealing with truth or fiction when you're trying to develop policy.
Right.
You know, whether
Truth,
it's safe to wear
right.
masks,
How do we,
don't wear masks.
COVID
it's
alone.
A hoax.
COVID alone, if nothing else, helps you to decide where your best interest lies in terms of even being alive to see tomorrow. You got to look at how COVID has been handled and how it's being handled.
And which community has it beat up the most?
And the community is being most impacted because, let's face the facts, the moment it hit, and it was downplayed, but when the numbers start to climb, and it came back that the numbers were predominantly people of color, Black, Latino, brown people, and older people, then all of a sudden there's a push to open up the economy. It didn't matter no more. You know, I mean, this is the truth. We ain't gonna lie about this.
Pay attention.
Everybody was scared until they found out who was more represented in the dead people. And then all of a sudden, everybody wants to open up the economy again. And even COVID has become polarized, right? Wearing a mask determines whether you are a Republican or Democrat. This is not the way our nation should be. Okay, I almost felt like, man, if it was God's will, I'd run for president, but it's not his will. Because I could see so clearly that it's neither side that's always right. When does somebody bring everybody together and say, we may not agree, but we can work on this together? You know, and that's what I think I look for. I think the generations under me, younger generations, are looking for that. Can we just stop being the cowboys and the Indians, and let's just be one group in a teepee together? Can we work through our issues without it's either their way or their way? I don't think either way is completely right. Let me say that for the record. Either way is considered completely right. No.
Craig, I'm glad you mentioned that, because here the young people, I think, are going to chart a third way. And then there's going to be a fourth way.
Yes.
I think this is probably the last election where it's just going to be Democrat and Republican, and don't even dare think about anything else. Just keep your blinders on. Because in the Democratic Party, there are people who want to be a lot more progressive in their policy making.
Yes.
They're not having an opportunity to do so because they're constrained by the larger number of their party. And I think in the next upcoming election cycles, there's going to be a more progressive party that
Yes.
stands up.
It
I
is
don't
going
know
to
if it
be.
exists now or it's going to be the
It
Green
is
Party
going to
or
be.
whatever. And then Donald Trump has decimated the Republican Party.
Yes.
And that's why there's a group of Republicans and Republican strategists and campaign hands and whatnot who have formed the Lincoln Group, the Lincoln Project,
Yes.
who are running scorching ads against
Yes.
him and those who have empowered him, like
Yes.
Lindsey Graham and Susan
Yes.
Collins and Maine
Absolutely.
Graham, South Carolina, et cetera. I think that there's going to be a division in the Republican Party too. So you're going to have people who are Trump supporters.
Yes.
And then you'll have people who are more traditional Republicans.
Yes.
So that's going to be 4.
Yes.
And when you have 4, you gotta find somebody to compromise with in order
Yes.
to make it work.
And
as
make it
opposed to if it's a knife fight between
Yes.
2, as soon as we get a majority, we're gonna cram through as much as we can.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And hopefully most of it they can't undo when they take over.
Yes.
But if you have 4, there's gonna have to be the art of compromise, which is what has been lost. Compromise is how the government has gotten anything done for almost 250 years. And that's the only way it's gonna get done now. And with with the Democrats and Republicans, 2 wings, same bird, okay? Acting like we're the only 2 choices and everything else step aside. I'm looking forward to young people saying, you know what,
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be like Joshua and
I'm
I'm be like Joshua and Caleb. I'm with the young people.
Okay.
I ain't sitting back in no rocking chair. I'm out there with them because I believe the problem with us is that we cannot change, that we cannot evolve. That's the issue. And when the moment you stop evolving, you're dying. You know, and I think that we are going to see that happen very soon. Let me say this, because we got to bring it to a close, because I can't do it without bringing this brother in, because I want to talk about a underrepresented population of people who are so critical to the vote. And then I have a question for you, because I do want to talk about the Voting Act. I want to talk about the Voting Act. We need to have some answers about if that Voting Act is coming to, does it have to be re-signed in order for black people to continue to vote? That is something people want to know. And because I know when I was in school, that was a conversation, that it would be coming up soon, and it would be up for, you know, to be signed again, to reenact it for black people to vote again. And
But I
last
think the
conversation.
real question is, why is it an act?
Why is it an act?
Instead of a law?
That's
if it's
the
a
question.
law, it's just done.
Okay,
if
but
it's an act,
but
it
what
has
is
an
it?
expiration date.
But what is it? Is it an act or a law?
It's a law, but it has an expiration
It
date.
has, why?
I don't know.
See what I'm saying? So to me,
It probably
to
has an
me,
expiration date, so they'll feel like, okay, everybody's learned their lesson, and
That's
now
scary.
they'll be decent.
that's so scary.
Oh,
But
it's very scary.
but
and there's a Supreme Court case, 2010.
Yes.
Shelby versus Holder.
Uh-huh.
Eric Holder, Barack Obama's Attorney General.
Uh-huh.
And the Supreme Court decided that some of the provisions in the Voting Rights Act were too stringent and should not be re-upped, should not be reinitialized. And so what happened then is people, before the ink was dry on the ruling, states started doing what they knew how to do to suppress votes.
Yes.
And at this point, it's not just the older states that used to do it. It used to be, oh, it's the South, the old Confederacy.
No.
Wisconsin ain't in the South. That's right by Canada.
Yes.
Okay? Pennsylvania's not in the South. So there are a number of states now that are cheating, or trying to cheat. And so rather than let it be an act, we need to ask the Congress, make this a law, that once it's a law, it's in effect.
And this is where I start asking questions to
The Democrats. Why y'all?
I'm saying, you know, we have these caucuses. We have we are the group that endorses, per se, a whole lot of blackness. Why in the world isn't this the top priority on the agenda, to make sure that this is permanent and not something that is an act, that is treated as an act? That's why I see why people get disenchanted with either party, to be very honest. You know, we got one party that absolutely doesn't represent us, that years ago did represent African-American people, but certainly does not represent the collective views and the well-being of African-American people.
Well, I'm
but
gonna tell
then
you
we
what,
have
that
the other.
needs to be something that's not debatable then. As far as this isn't an ask, it's a demand.
It's a demand.
So that if, because of, on the backs of our votes, the Democrats get the White House and the Senate, in addition to the Congress, they have nothing in their way from doing whatever they need to do legislatively. Had a conversation with a member of the Senate, and he was saying, yeah, and we're gonna have to get rid of this filibuster too so we can get things done. And what will happen then is we need to tell them, so the Voting Rights Act
Yes.
needs to become a law that is in place
Yes.
for good, so that we can prevent people from trying to steal elections.
Well, somebody-
and they're depending on theft every 2 years.
Well, I'm going to write it on an index card, and if anybody knows either candidate, it needs to get to them, because that is so critical, in my opinion. And I know that it is already in the back of the minds of strategists what they can do to totally eliminate our right to vote. You know, I believe America is headed so fast back to a point in slavery. Except this time, black folks ain't running. They're not running for their life. They're playing right into it. You know, we have folks who probably listen to this and still won't vote because they don't think it matters, you know, until all of a sudden you don't have the right to vote anymore. Speaking of not having the right to vote, I want to talk to a young man who you guys have met and have known, and you may be meeting him somewhat for the first time to know his story. Carter Chris White. Carter, talk to us tonight. You did hardcore prison, right? And then under the administration of one of our presidents, you got a pardon, right? Talk to us, talk to us, because I can't tell your story. You got
So
it.
I'm just here for the youth, like, I'm here for the youth. So y'all gotta get out and vote. The reason why you gotta get out and vote is because your life depends on it. They said it already. I'm an ex-felon, one who had 30 years with the federal government. I served 19 years of my life in federal prison, and they told me that when I get out, I wasn't gonna be able to vote. That's a lie. I've been voting for the last 4 years I've been home.
Wow.
So everybody vote counts. This shirt right here, this is the truth. This is our future, y'all. This vote right here is our future. Obama did one hell of a job when he was in there. Excuse my French. He let me go. It's very seldom that you'll see a black man back on the streets again because a president signed something without him being my friend. He wasn't my friend. I don't know Obama from a can of paint, but spiritually I do know him. He was obedient to the word of God, and he did what God said. Come, he set the captives free. I was captive, I'm here now, and that's why I stay in the trenches, I stay in the hoods, I stay everywhere, trying to get our kids back on track so that you can vote. Vote for the person that's gonna do the job. At least halfway do the job. Don't let nobody just take your whole life and just dictate where you're gonna go at. You gotta do your research too. So before you vote, find out what the person about. Find out what their morals and principles is, where their loyalty lie at. Because at the end of the day, they hands still tied too. That's why Obama really couldn't do all of the things that he wanted to do when he was in office. Because there's a whole lot. Him and Michelle had a tons of lists. But they can only do what, you know what I mean, they hand called for. And they did one heck of a job while he was in there. And I shout out President Obama and Michelle right now.
Ain't that amazing? Because I see something amazing. I see a young man who I know is making an impact. He has dedicated his life to it. And he has helped so many young people get off the streets from being squeegee kids to having jobs with Amazon as of now. And amazing. I'm tooting the horn because I think we need to know that Obama made a great choice. But there are many that probably would have never thought to free someone like a little black man named Chris. Because the way we see it today, the folks that are getting pardoned, okay, I say no more right there.
Convicted felons attached to the White House.
But the ones that are getting, right, so, you know, ladies and gentlemen, I can't tell you how to vote, but I can tell you what our experiences have been. And here's an experience. Here's a young man who wrote for years and years, correct? Because you didn't just write to him first, right?
Well, actually, I did the motion in 2000.
In the year
I didn't
2000.
get hurt
That's
until
8
16.
years before him.
Wow.
That's 16 years later.
16 years later, you got the pardon.
Don't give up.
Boy, and I hope if President Obama and Lady Michelle would ever get to see this piece of this video, I would want him to see that he made a dynamic investment because he didn't just free him. He freed all these kids on the streets that Chris touches every day. Now, you guys put that in your pipe and smoke it, as old people say. And let's talk about getting to the polls, and let's talk about making a difference. Chris is going to be out in the communities. We're going to be partnering with Delegate Henson and the state office to get out in the communities and really get young people to have hope and to have a future. And Chris is going to be working. We have programs that are going to be working. And he has his own story. His books tell his story. And Reverend Steve, it's touching lives every day. And I work with him every day. And to see his passion for the young people is just absolutely amazing. And for the homeless, excuse me, and for the homeless. And so I want to say this man votes. He votes, okay? This man used to be a big drug dealer on the streets. You made your first million by what? 17, he made his first million. All right, so all you little guys, because you got 4 pair of shoes, you ain't done nothing, okay? If you listening to me and you've been selling drugs and, man, I got shoes. No, this dude made his first million at 16, and it landed him in the place he did not want to be, but yet it changed his life, right? And now his story is to change your life. And one of the things you can do for change in your life is to get out here and vote. You're too old to be standing on the corner, smoking weed all day, complaining about life, and when you could be voting to make a difference in your very own life. Yes, it does. It does make a difference. And he has been voting ever since he's had that opportunity. And so I think that points to this. Next time we bring on Pastor Tillett, we are going to talk about massive incarceration. We're going to talk about the plan to destroy African-American males, all right, because that is the truth. Let me tell you, if you can destroy the seed, there'll be no more harvest, okay? And so I pray you all have been blessed. There are a lot of questions on here tonight that what we're going to do, we're going to try to send an email to some of you, an inbox, to address some of the things that you're asking tonight and see if we can address these things properly. But if we stayed on here any longer, we would be on until about 9:30, 10 o'clock. But this is amazing because the lines are lit. Yes, yes. Oh, yeah, we're going to come to our announcements. The lines are lit. Folks are on here tonight. This is exciting. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, once again, for the record, request a ballot and hand carry it to your election office, your local office. That information is online. You can look it up. You can get it. It's right there for you. Hand carry it. Now, we got some things happening this coming week. Next week is Rosh Hashanah. And, of course, before we close tonight, we're going to blow the shofar. But this is the month that is called the month of Elul. This is the month that we take reflection on our lives. We look at, take inventory, and what can we do better? This is the month that we detox and get rid of some things so that we can get ready for some better things in life, okay? This is also a good time to make our voice to be heard. The king is in the fields. You don't know what I'm talking about? Catch my Sunday sermons. Here's what I want you to know. If the king is in the fields, the people have to go out there to meet the king. Next Saturday on Rosh Hashanah, next Saturday at 9:30 a.m., 1,000 plus men and women and boys and girls are going to gather at the United States Naval Academy Stadium near the Blue Angels exhibit. And we are going to gather, mobilize, and we are marching to downtown Annapolis by the State House, down through Church Circle, coming down to the dock, to the very place where slavery was a doormat for America, right there where Kunta Kinte was brought in. And we are going there to say Black lives still matter, okay? And it's going to be led by the United Black Clergy. Apostle Thomas, Larry Thomas, and Apostle Antonio Palmer are our team leaders. And many of us, including Steve and myself, are part of this team. And we are grateful for this opportunity for you all to join us. Come and join us. Wear your mask. We got flags. We got banners. We have shirts if you need one. The shirts are only $10. We've made it so cheap so everybody can, the masks are $4. We just want everybody to come out and march and make sure that we send the message on Rosh Hashanah that it's a new day, it's a new year, and it's not going to start the way it ended. All right? And so we cannot let George Floyd's blood and Brittany's blood and all these folks that we've named tonight and didn't name tonight, we cannot let their blood go in vain. So we're going to also be calling out the names of young people that have died in the streets in Annapolis, Maryland, and Anne Arundel County as well. We have many groups that have signed on with us, the NAACP, the Caucus of African American Leaders. There are so many groups, white, black, Latino, they're all coming together. We're going to have more than 1,000 people, I'm telling you right now. That is next Saturday, the 19th, 9:30 a.m. The march kicks off at 10 o'clock. If you can't march, you can meet us down at the city dock. Get down there and get ready to celebrate with us as we come together and cry out with one voice that Black lives still matter. That's happening next Saturday. Then next Sunday evening, the book you have been waiting for, the Post-Pandemic Mandate, comes out. My book comes out next Friday night. It goes live for sale on Amazon next Friday, and I will be doing a national book talk on Sunday at 6 p.m. at the end of Rosh Hashanah. I want you to join me. It's going to be live on Facebook. Anybody and everybody can get on there. It'll also be on Zoom, so some of you can ask questions, and then I want you to get the book. Get the book, get the book. Pastors, get the book. Bishops, get the book. Leaders of the community, get the book, okay? God has been constantly giving me these time-sensitive books right on Rosh Hashanah. The last one came out Rosh Hashanah. We look a year later, and the book has come to fruition. All right, so we want to experience what God wants us to know in advance this time around. And then, of course, I cannot close without promoting this book that will educate some of you on the issues you had no idea of that we were talking tonight. Some of you is like, what are you talking about, Reconstruction? Well, get this book. This book is very user-friendly. All right, don't fall for the okie doke. Stop falling for the okie doke. This is Reverend Tillet's book that I had him come to the church. He blessed us so much we were about to run around the church. You guys have got to get this book. This book is history in itself, and it's telling us some things we need to know about race. And we're going to have a wonderful conversation about race as well. And then on the 26th of the month, September the 26th, we want you guys to tune in for our very first, we are hosting our very first Access and Equity Educational Empowerment Conference. Yes, we're talking about next steps, and we're not talking about reopening. We're talking about steps to open what works for our children, okay? And we don't want you to miss that. That information goes live tomorrow morning. It'll be on my social media page, the church's page, and it is free to attend either in person or virtual. There's a limited seating for in person, and we follow all social distancing rules, but we don't want you to miss this. In person or virtual, you want to be a part of this empowerment conference. If your children have been failed through the system, if your children are struggling right now, you don't want to miss this moment, all right? We have answers, we have hope, we have resources for you already. I don't know if some of you realize there are schools right now that are open already for some of you that are struggling with what to do with my kids. Bishop Shanklin has an amazing school, New Life Academy, just opened. And they're not only teaching their own curriculum, but they're also supporting children who are in the county school system, public school system, and they are bringing them in as well as educating them in a safe, wonderful, COVID-free environment. And I want you all to know all of this, all right? I hope you've been blessed tonight. If you've been blessed tonight, put in that box you've been blessed tonight. We open up the lines for you guys to sow seeds if you'd like to sow a financial seed tonight. If you need prayer tonight, would you please email us at ineedprayerfsc@gmail.com. That's ineedprayerfsc@gmail.com. Tonight has been epic. Steve, man, thank you so much. Thank you for coming and sharing knowledge and truth with us tonight. Please know, ladies and gentlemen, for the disclaimer, we have not told you who to vote for tonight. We have just shared with you what the facts are, okay? And for those of you that are struggling with your decision about do I vote this way or that way because of my Christian beliefs, once again, I want to tell you, you look at what is going to impact you and your family moving forward. That's what's critical, because guess what? When you get before the judgment seat of God, God's going to judge you for how you loved on folks, hated folks, dealt with folks. That's going to be the first order of business at the throne, okay? He's not going to judge you on somebody else and what they said they're going to do, okay? And thank God you don't have to answer for a whole lot of broken promises, right? I love you guys tonight. I thank God for each and every one of you. We're going to blow this shofar, but I just want to look. Folks are saying all up and down the line here, I've been blessed. I've been blessed. I've been blessed by this session. I want to appreciate each and every one of you tonight for being with us tonight and sharing with us. I want to thank you, Carter, for sharing the wonderful insight you share. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you do no more than pick up the last 10 minutes of this message and show it to your children. Don't make them watch the whole thing. They ain't gonna watch all this. Just bring it to the part where it shows what he has to say and share that with your kids, all right? Be that straightforward with them. Let's get them informed so that they understand exactly who they are and whose they really are. Okay, this is very important tonight. Thank you all that have been blessed tonight. If you all have been blessed tonight, you feel free to sow a seed tonight. We never require it, but we always give you the opportunity because as you sow, you reap. We know that. You sow, it comes back to you, right? It may not be money, but God has a way of blessing that we had not room to receive. Okay, so to do that tonight, the information is up. Once again, the takeaways tonight are in our box. You can see it on the chat. Carry your ballot. Hand carry your ballot. This is the month of reflection. This is the month of reflection and detox. The King is in the fields. Next Saturday, 10 a.m., march to the State House with us. I will be giving the address on the purpose of the new year and be blowing the shofar. Y'all, I ain't got enough practice. I ought to be blowing it right by now. Some of y'all are common. Call me up asking, do I need them to come blow this shofar? I don't give up that easy. So thank you for laughing with me when I couldn't get those notes right. And now that I'm getting it right, I'm going to pull my saxophone out and really show y'all something here. Art Sherrod, look out, right? Listen, I thank God for each of you. Thank you so much. Let's blow the shofar. And then tonight, we are going to end it like we always do, that you matter. Here we go. May that sound tonight remind you that we must awaken because the hour is later than we think. From me and my crew, you matter.